This next match is our ticket to Tokyo. Haven't played Cloud9 in what feels like months. They're always at their peak, and if one guy isn't, another guy is.
Hitting that, doesn't land a second, shorty, denied! It's so unfavorable right now, crew need a miracle, and it's Cloud9 that take the series.
Playing against Evil Geniuses is crazy that they made it here. I think that they're gonna have a lot of momentum.
But it does not connect to kills for energy. Artis is low on HP, another punishment! They've done it! EG, they've upset energy!
Welcome back, everyone, to VCT Americas playoffs and our second match of the day, the NA Showdown, Cloud9 versus Evil Geniuses. And look who's joining us again. It's Wyatt. Hey, good to see you, buddy.
Feels good to be back, to be a sentient human again. And it's kind of crazy because I've been struggling with my memory, and we're here in playoffs. I don't remember C9 and EG being hyped and good at the beginning of the season. What has happened?
Wyatt, let me tell you, a lot has changed, Poppy, okay? It's crazy. No,
he just came back from his coma from week 2, and this is the most shocking game of his life.
Actually, the coma being on.
Yeah, he like woke up and he's like, oh, are 100 Thieves and Sentinels in the playoffs? Oh, no.
Oh, no.
I gotta tell you a couple things.
Oh, well, let's go ahead and talk about it, though, because we have our number 2 seed, Cloud9. They took down, Wyatt, every North American team to get to this point. They have been unbelievable, and the wild thing is that it started with EG in week 1, so wild.
Yeah, I mean, a crazy, crazy run from Cloud9. If there's one thing I have been witnessing, if there's one thing I do remember, it's that C9 Leaf, the one Leaf, is just
one Leaf to rule them all.
Outrageous this entire season. So many facets of his game. The individual play, the entering, his first kill rate is insane. It's tied for the highest while he's not even playing duelists. And the calling that he's doing for the team as well. I mean, it's just outlandish how good he's been.
And the run has been nearly unstopped for Cloud9. The only loss was to Loud, the first team from Americas to qualify.
And they're on a collision course to play them again.
Yeah, there's a chance of it if they win here. But every other game has honestly just been a walk in the park for C9. Their preparation is incredible for every match. They're always showing new things, be it a new comp or a new iteration to something they always have. And their preparation is just excellent throughout the season.
Their preparation is second to none probably in this stage, right? They've had the Phoenix running on Pearl. They've had comps where Neon is taking the stage for Leaf. Leaf has played Sky. Leaf has played Killjoy. Yeah. He's been all over the place. Every player on this team has impact, and MC's game plans week in and week out have made this team only drop, I think, 4 maps this entire stage.
Yeah, it's incredible just the high praise that you guys are giving for Cloud9. Because no one predicted this, right? And you see, even these guys, the big brains here on the desk, they didn't predict it either. Look at these guys, the biggest of brains.
I think week 2 we only said good things.
Let's take a look back at our coverage of this squad earlier at the stage.
I remember saying they'd be here.
No one knows what to expect from Cloud9.
And the expectations were so high. You know, we were coming into, I think, the Americas League expecting Cloud9 to be that super team status, but they've got Rooney and Jake, which is 2 players coming from like the tier 2, tier 3 scene kind of respectively, filling in those gaps. Massive shoes to fill. Arguably, some would say almost impossible to fill as well.
We don't know what this Cloud9 roster is going to do. I'm sure they don't. There's so many questions where it has to be that adaptability if they're to win today.
I think Cloud9 is going to have to challenge it in risky ways today. And they can win. They can definitely win if MC cooks up a game plan.
Sean, I see where you're coming from. Someone had to try and vouch for Cloud9. But I just don't see it for Cloud9.
Well, the doctor's prognosis is a little bit rough for this squad.
We got to go back all the way to the start, Jake. 2 weeks before the stage begins, you join the team. Did you ever see the team fighting for first place?
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't, but I knew we were gonna get playoffs. I knew we were gonna get playoffs, and I knew we were gonna do decent and up to better than people's expectations, because people expected us to like rank 10th. Like you saw Platchat, you saw even like the VALORANT rankings, they ranked us like 10th or 9th at the start of the split, and we knew we were gonna go to the playoffs, but first is something I never saw coming.
Dan, if there's one thing we know, that Platchat is garbage. So 100% just completely off the mark there. No, but seriously though, real talk. This seriously is, in all my years, I've just never really seen something like this, where you take 2 players, fresh, you put them into the roster, hadn't touched a big stage game, and then they show up and they're the rookies of the year. And even though they've been playing for a while, Mimi, It's incredible what they've been able to do with these two guys.
Yeah, and I love that quote from Jake at the end, that they always knew that they could make playoffs, that they were a good team, that what everyone else was saying about them wasn't fully true, but they still exceeded their own expectations in now gunning for first seed, in now being just one game away from qualifying to both international events this year. Cloud9's journey has just been unparalleled.
And I think it comes from the buy-in to these game plans that MC creates. And Rooney now has control over this team, right? When he first joined the team as this inexperienced IGL, it was very unlikely that he had a lot of control in the team. But now fast forward to the end of this stage and you look at their map plan, you look at how Rooney's calling and the performances he's putting up, he looks like an experienced vet out there.
Yeah, absolutely. If there's one thing that MCE has been able to do with his teams, it's instill a trust in him. It's what happened with the Guard as well. Yeah. With all those new players. They believed in him and they believed in his vision. And it's the same story here. And what you're talking about with Rooney's IGLing, that combined with Leaf's ability to mid-round and make plays happen on his own, lead his teammates around, set him up. It's just this beautiful combination, and it's just been so impossible for these teams to deal with.
This team just has such a fantastic ability to spread the load in the later shift. MCE can work with Cupert, their six-man and assistant coach, to build up these game plans, come up with creative things like that Pearl comp we were just watching, like their Viper on Ascent, and across the entire pool, it doesn't really seem like they have a weak map right now. They've truly been willing to play every single map, have had good ideas on all of them, and beyond just the initial ideas, I think that second point you bring up is so important, because Leaf, Zeppa, Zellsis, the experienced core of this team is so good at being proactive in the mid-round. You see it on their defensive side, how often they're using just one piece of utility to rotate over, to make these calls in the mid-round. I think they're more proactive than any other squad right now, and it's the most experienced two players on the team that do that, Leaf and Zeppa, and they have a chance now to re-qualify to an international event for the first time since 2021 champions.
Whew, that's so crazy. And I can't stay as like a leader, past leader in these teams and an ex-coach, obviously now, that someone like Leaf on the team elevates the level beyond what I can even say in words, right? He's not an in-game leader, but his role in the team and the structure he provides is insane. And he might as well be an in-game leader for, you know, any other team that's probably not a top 10 team in the world. That's the impact he's having.
And it's such a big redemption for these two guys, because while they did make it to an international event in the interim with Lock-in, everyone got to go to that one. It was all of 2022 where they really fell off. Cloud9 was struggling then, but now coming into a new year with a new team, they've regained that success they had 2 years ago.
Yeah, no, totally. And as we continue to talk about C9, there's one thing that needs to be evidently clear. Leaf, good. Okay? He's good. He play game good. He shoot good. He use knives good. He uses all agents good. And this man can't do anything wrong. He does whatever he wants when he's out there, Wyatt, and it's genuinely scary. It feels like you're playing against Aspas, but you're playing against Aspas in all these different roles because he's just so impactful.
Yeah, it's incredible how much impact he's able to find on the non-duelist roles as well, just in regard to his own individual play. But then, yeah, what we're talking about, when he's on that duelist, his ability to get the other players on the team to play around him in an efficient manner, go for these aggressive on-the-fly calls and pushes. At the moment, he's just got it all, and it's something I mentioned briefly before, but he's tied for the highest first kill rate right now, even while playing all these non-duelist agents, which is just ridiculous.
It's actually insane, and it's because of how he approaches the game, right? Drawing the comparison between like someone like Leaf and say like Taco that we saw yesterday, Taco Leah, it's so different because you listen to how Leaf approaches the game. He watches and studies so many VODs, and every decision, every peak he makes is based on what he's seen in that footage ahead of time, right? So every game, his pathing is unique to the team that he's playing against, and that's how he's capable of putting up these numbers week in after week. It's actually wild because no one saw this coming.
No one did. And anyone who acts like they did, just, you're off the goop. I mean, honestly, there's just no way for anyone to have been able to predict this, just like their opponents, because we're going to move on to Evil Geniuses here. And they did something that, honestly, no one thought that they were going to do as well. Kind of feels like a very similar story, parallel to C9, where they had picked up some players. They ended up really high-profile players coming out of lock-in, and then they released them, or dropped them, or benched them, and then end up slotting in a rookie. energy, and in comes Demon 1. He's bald now, so the picture's not updated. But this kid he's disgusting. I just don't know how they've been able to pull this off, and it's been really off the backs of just some incredible planning from Potter and the rest of the crew there.
Yeah, I think both of these teams have some of the best game plans and preparation of anyone. In the game that they just played against Energy, what I was so impressed with was after taking a really bad game against them, 13-5, 13-7, something along those lines, to end out the regular season, in playoffs, they came in with excellent preparation. On split, they were never falling for the NRG fakes. They were really well set up, stacking the correct site consistently. Then they got onto Ascent, and here's where it was just the individuals that were absolutely thriving. Everyone was popping off. Busio and Jojima were both having insane games, and that's beyond the rookie in Demon 1, too. EG's run has been a miracle, but now they're just one game away from making it to both Tokyo and Champions, which is honestly unbelievable.
It's crazy. It feels like they have all the pieces, right? They have the star Jet. They have like the late round closeout player in Com. They have the wild card in like Jogamo. Bustio's locking things down on the IGL Sentinel role. I mean, they just have it all right now when you watch them, and no one, again, saw this coming with EG, but it all fell into place throughout the season, particularly through their attack halves, where I was highly critical of EG early on in this split, but they've turned things around even there, and like you said, you have to give credit to Potter.
It's just so impressive, and when you think about the week that EG had, right, they lost to NRG, which you had mentioned, right, they got clapped there, that didn't look that great, then they failed to clinch that playoff spot, in control of their own destiny, couldn't do it. Then they are just watching MIBR play 100 Thieves, and I honestly don't think anyone would have given MIBR the time of day.
Coach to step in and clutch and win the most unlikely game to even make it to playoffs.
I just don't get it. And then on top of that, we had Busio on the desk, and we actually had a chance to talk to him about a lot of this yesterday. So if you want to see the full thing, why don't you check out the VOD from yesterday. But for now, though, let's actually go ahead and check out this clip here about this team's wild journey. You guys weren't even sure if you were going to make it to begin with.
Yep.
You were just watching streams at home, hoping that you would get in, and now here you are. You just beat NRG.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely crazy. MIBR clutched up against 100T. I have no idea how that happened, but thank God. And then, yeah, but regarding NRG, their last match, not this one, but the match in the regular season, it felt like the first 4 weeks for us, where it was just no communication. It felt terrible. We weren't playing as a team together. But today definitely felt like the last 4 weeks of the season, where we're talking, communicating, trading. We're playing very well together. So I think that's why we got this result today.
What's it been like playing with him, though? Because that change you're talking about, from the first 4 weeks to now, that was basically when Demon 1 came into the team. And he was like a totally new player, first time playing at Tier 1. What was it like integrating him and getting him to the point where he is now with the team?
Yeah, I think the first couple weeks was a little hard. But he's so mechanically gifted, I think, honestly, top 3 in the world when it comes to aim. What I see him do in scrims is like nothing I've ever seen before, and you see it on stage, too. His aim is the best in the world. So all we had to do was just practice.
Out of everyone, you think he's the best in the world?
One of them. Him and Durka, maybe.
Oh, both bald. Coincidence?
Both bald, yeah.
Coincidence?
No, literally.
So we learned a lot that day. We learned, oh, hey, picture's updated. I didn't even notice that. Well done, well done. And you know what? That actually fits really well, because we can't forget about the new Bald Demon. It's, of course, Demon 1, or Bald Demon 1. Ooh, that works out really well. But here's the thing. He bet his hair on MIBR winning, and he committed. And then on top of that, he had probably one of the best games you could possibly ask for Sean. This guy was disgusting yesterday.
He had over 70 kills in this best of 3 against NRG. And on Split, he popped off. And this is the most impressive thing about EG. He got 0 first bloods on Split, and they still won. It's like his impact comes in so many ways. The Blade Storms, the first bloods, you know, taking charge on defense. He does so much for the team, and he was what turned their season around in my eyes. Yeah, impressive. Impressive top to bottom. Demon 1 has had one heck of a run here. Honestly, it reminds me, it's a weird thing, but, you know, it's very weird to see these young players come in and have this immediate impact. But that is the world that we live in here. It's going to be an incredible matchup. We are set for the second match of the day. So, of course, let's go ahead and send it down over to Van Silly, who's at the stage.
Riot Games Arena, are you ready? That's right. It's time for a second upper bracket semifinal match. Introducing first, another dark team currently writing their Cinderella story. Give it up for Demon 1, Ethan, Jogimo, Calm, Busio, and Coach Potter for Evil Geniuses!
Shining another one diamond. I live the victory. I'm never dying. I've been at the top, made it straight from the bottom. I never gave up, and so no one can stop no one can stop him. I picked it up in the wood I could drop. Never get a check from the blood and the sweat manifests what it means when you gotta be the best. From the red to the set, put the body in the bench. That's muscle what it takes when you want a big flex. Never knew the taste of defeat. I'm the king in the street, know the taste of my feet. Kissing the ring to the beat, yeah, I had to go big, now the price ain't changed.
And their opponents, a team who continues to show that there was no luck currently in their success. Give it up right now for Leaf, Zeppa, Rooney, Celsius, Big Bean Jake, and Coach MCE, your number 2 seed, Cloud9!
Thank you, everybody.
Time to get ready, baby, for this game. EG versus Cloud9, 2 teams that I genuinely, no one thought would be at this point at the beginning of the season. But here they are right now, establishing themselves as the beast of the North American region. They're 1 game away from qualifying for Tokyo and Champions. It's all on the line right here.
Just a few months ago, 3 of the players currently on this stage were playing in Tier 2, were unknown names in Collegiate. And now for all 3 of them, they are 1 match away from making it to Masters Tokyo, from making it to Champions Los Angeles. It's been 2 mirrored runs, 2 miracles for both of these squads, but now only one can get that first spot to the International.
And you described Cloud9 just now, but the other side of the stage, you know, this guy came from an open tryout to be a star player on the team.
Yep.
Their in-game leader wasn't in-game leading, you know, if you look back past a year ago. You have someone like Ethan who just joined this team, right? It's the same thing for EG, right? The stars all aligned. That's how they ended up here today. And man, did they have a chance actually today against Cloud9.
Yeah, Ethan as well, you mentioned him, but he's in rare form right now. I think he's playing some of the best VALORANT that he ever has up until this point.
And we've been wanting that for a while from because he is so talented, but it's always been like up and down, up and down. But it feels like right now it's just all up, 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 up.
Yeah, he's hit the crescendo of his gameplay for sure at this point. Him, the power there combined with Demon 1, the Astra gameplay from Busio has been phenomenal. His timings with everything are great. They look so good right now.
But this is going to be a challenging game for EG despite that. Cloud9 have been on an incredible run. The only team to stop them thus far was Loud. But EG's coming off that upset over NRG. Still, they never expected to be here. Their hopes were riding on MIBR, and now they've had less than, what, 12, 14 hours to prepare for this matchup. They're normally so prep heavy.
Let's be honest, though, Mimi. Do you genuinely feel like EG... C9 had a chance to just watch EG play against NRG. And EG was very clear that they were anti-stratting NRG. You're not going to get away with these same kind of shenanigans against Cloud9, are you not?
It's going to be very hard to turn the prep around in time.
I'm going to say this. If I'm MCE, I'm game planning for NRG yesterday up until EG wins. So I think he probably didn't have as much time to prep for EG as you might think.
And I didn't even factor that in, bro.
Cloud9 pick bind. That's the only map
That's why you're here, baby.
Cloud9 play. And this is the wild card that Cloud9's throwing right now.
And if you think way back, some of these players have been demons on this map in the past. You think of Zeppa's Raze, which is fantastic. I imagine we'll see Leaf on the initiator here. That duo thrives on maps like this. But to rewind even earlier, we do get to start with Fracture, which has been EG's best map.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Cloud9 have not shown a single thing on Bind.
No.
So they picked Bind into this match.
And EG have been really willing to play it. They actually looked quite good against NRG. Had some great ideas even in the loss.
Yeah, on defense in that match against NRG, even with the loss, they came out and it looked like that was actually going to be their upset map win against NRG before the playoffs. They had a great defense. And again, Busio's Astra was phenomenal there.
Man, this is going to be such a good series. The last map, the Heineken 0.0 Ascent, that's where Cloud9 played the Viper. EG looked so good yesterday on Ascent against NRG. If we get to go 3, we are #blessed.
I love it, man.
It'll be a fantastic one if we get there, but let's dial in on map number 1. This is Fracture, a strong place for both teams. And this map, most teams have been banning against EG. They have a lot of gimmicks built up around this Sova for extremity control with the dart, and also for a lot of set plays around the ultimate. It's really well thought out, almost C9-esque with the gimmick comp.
Yeah, absolutely. This is also one of the maps where you get to see the very rare Demon 1 Brimstone, where he's not actually going to be playing
the Demon Stone.
The Jet. But overall, some fairly standard compositions. Nothing too crazy. Aside from the Sova on the side of EG is a bit unorthodox.
What's crazy is in a map 1 against Demon 1 and Leaf, we're not getting either of them playing the Jet. For the first 2 maps, I'm expecting more supportive roles for both.
Well, this is it, folks. It's time to jump into the action. Riot Games Arena, can you do me a big favor for Uncle GB? Make some noise as we get ready for this matchup. We're going to send it over to 2 casters who just radiate that big dad energy. It's Doug and Bala.
Thank you so much, Golden Boy. Bala, a spot at Tokyo Masters up for grab right here, right now, between these 2 teams that no one expected.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just a spot at Tokyo. It's a double qualification for champions, too. So this means a lot. And you're right. Nobody expected this at the beginning of the season. We thought Cloud9 was dead in the water. But here they are, just so good. They've beaten every single North American team on their path here. And how fitting for it to be EG in their path to qualification.
Fracture, where we're going to be kicking things off. Again, a map that is very good for both of these squads. They've managed to avoid through the bans, Lotus, and things of that nature, but for us to be kicking things off on Fracture with EG on the defensive side is going to be a treat. Look at how they're already set up towards B. They want to play a little bit aggressively while the rest of Cloud9 wants to go away, and everyone's here from EG. It's going to be a late flank, but by the time the play shows up, it's going to be over. Oh my goodness, everyone's stunned. Calm with 2, the clip runs dry. And now the spike out.
He heard him behind him right now, Jake. Just trying to get back over towards B, but it's going to be a foot race for him to even get to a safe spot. And the smoke is smart.
What a freaking start to this map.
And you see how slow EG actually have to be going through spawn until they hear that spike plant. So he gave themselves some room, but now he's stuck and he's just dead.
Yeah, he has no room to reposition. He had nowhere he can go. Time was short. Health was low, and that's the first round going over to EG.
Just ridiculous fight and duel towards door. I mean, to start off right away on pistol round like that. We've seen a couple of games start just like it. It's just a full-out brawl. And the interesting part, too, not all the util got out for EG, but they're still able to make it work with the final stun. Coming in from the backside. That came in all the way from tree. So they full-on went for a south side pinch, and they caught him right where they wanted him.
Hopefully a sign of what we're in for. If that's any indication of this series, we're going to have a good time. Leaf with a stinger here in the second round.
It's that patented Cloud9 stinger by Zeppa, only actually going for a sheriff, which normally he's going for a stinger to help set up some of the rest of his players. It's still a dangerous round, constantly for this team. And EG actually has struggled a lot in anti-eco situations, probably because of their rough start of the season. Specifically to this team, by the way. We saw these 2 teams play this map in week 1, the very first showings from both sides.
What an eternity ago. They find themselves matched up here with everything as far as stakes go.
I think Busio heard a lot more than Cloud9 expected here. But they don't really care. They're just farming up orbs right now. Jake is 1 off right now in second round. Zellsis as well going to get 1 up.
Cloud9 have to be careful here, depending on how much longer this hit takes. EG are bringing 2 on the flank. That's certainly going to help things out. But it's just going to be so difficult for them to fend off this retake attempt when you have 2 coming in from spawn, 2 coming in from main.
Yeah, that tree hit is way faster than you expect. And I thought this was going to get a little dangerous. I thought they gave him way too much space on the site.
Yeah. Yep.
Especially given the fact that you had so many orbs given up too. You're basically ceding all map control to Cloud9 there. And I think that's definitely going to hurt in the next round. But also, I was really concerned there, like you were, that was going to be a Cloud9 round where they had time to set up. But that flank from Tree was really crucial. But again, they now have Jake's ults online. They have that Brimstone ult. Because of farming, he farmed 2 orbs in that round. And Zellsis got 1 up as well, plus the spike plant. So even though that was pretty clean from Evil Geniuses when it was all said and done, this makes for a very dangerous bonus round. And even beyond that.
1 enemy remaining.
Another round for EG. Again, now Cloud9 with guns. They are working with more than a broken file icon on your screen there. They have a little bit more to them. And again, Jake's ult being one of them. EG again taking space a little.
They might get punished for this though, Doug. Look at the drop presence from Cloud9 right now. Oh, that dart is so good! It actually missed, but that's completely intended to catch somebody on the edge of that smoke, but they've given up the site again here and getting pinched in.
Tom is still going to be able to apply pressure from spawn. I mean, they've been able to take care of everything that Cloud9 had here.
That is just crazy. And honestly, to see EG throw out new things this late into playoffs, when you've seen this comp so often from them, you honestly think that you're going to start relying on a lot of the stuff that you've done before, but there's some new. That smoke from Demon 1 pushing up with Calm's dart, they're able to get the kill. Obviously, he didn't get the tag, but he's just spamming because he knows they could be in the smoke. That's so nice from Jogamo. But handling the pinch as well, where Cloud9 is reacting in, they know what the dangers are in that strategy, in that approach. And they're able to really understand how to funnel them back. Ethan's Aftershock also getting a kill on the pinch attempt. It's just so nice from EG, and they convert on a dangerous bonus. Remember, I said they had that ult. Cloud9 used their Brim ult. Kind of wasted if you're not able to convert that round.
EG do such a good job of playing around Calm here. The Sova on Fracture is so uncommon.
They're the only team that does this.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's so pivotal to every single round. And that dart was a perfectly good indicator of it. And then when you have guys like Demon 1 who are doing things on their own, just winning the straight-up duels against Zeppa and against Jake, you see why this is such a successful map for them.
And while Leaf and Zellsis are looking for a pick there, Demon 1 setup is insane. He's actually hoping that that turret is heard from the players in tree, and he's peeking under it.
1 enemy remaining.
It's just so clean. I think, again, expecting them to walk through that smoke, the alarm bot tripped, and everybody's just watching.
Flawless.
What?
I mean, it's early, but EG look like they have not missed a single stride from yesterday. And they're already starting off with the showmanship.
And I'm wondering, I was like, man, who's shooting the bodies? Why is a Brimstone shooting the bodies? This dude should be in the back. And I'm like, oh, right.
It's Demon 1.
It's Demon 1. It's the bald guy.
Gunner.
And this is what I was talking about. They're peeking there to break the turret because the rest of the team is calling that turret's there. They want to start chunking down that Killjoy util, and Demon 1 is just under it before the turret even pings. It's so nice.
It looks like we may have an early timeout called here.
I mean, yeah, you better. If I'm MC, I'm furious at how these first couple of rounds have gone, and I think what Sean said on the desk right before we went into this about the prep, because we were all thinking EG only has probably 12 hours. That first series was really fast.
Yeah.
But Sean's point, Cloud9 was probably prepping for NRG.
Right.
So for them, immediately getting put on unfamiliar territory against EG, or at least like this new iteration of EG with Demon 1, and everything working for them, where you know it's actually the prep, because this is the map that they pick. This is the map that they probably focus as much as possible.
Right.
You don't have time to really prep 3 maps. I mean, that last map is almost always, in this situation, you know, you're just kind of improvising. Not during the regular season, of course, but.
Right. Different circumstances, for sure.
What a start. And I think even after yesterday's upset over Energy, I think everybody's walking into this thinking this should be Cloud9 easy.
Yeah.
And that's that's the mistake everybody made yesterday. And here we are again, EG 4-0 to start things off.
They're learning already. Remember, that was the dart that we saw a couple of rounds ago.
Yeah, but it's interesting. Look at how do you have to react, right?
Yeah.
There's no smoke even there, so they're very concerned. Trailblazers going to clear up, but EG immediately, even capitalizing on what happened, what was the dangerous thing last time, was that pinch from drop. Throwing out the dart, it gets broken, and then they re-explore drop to try to find that split that might have come out on this, but they don't actually have the info that they're on site here.
Seppa's in spawn! Seppa's in spawn! That first flick was filthy, but Demon 1 cleans him up. Now they're going to commit to the site in the face of the lockdown.
I mean, Marina's going to have to breach hold and just die, and he doesn't even get the spike down.
Oh, he's got to back up. Lockdown's still there, and the spike is down.
Good flash from Ethan. They know where Boostio is. Still gets 2.
And it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if you know where Boostio is. He's still going to find his value. A 5-0 lead for Evil Geniuses. Boy, he knows how to play to the crowd, doesn't he?
Get him going. Yo, he's the new Dapper for real.
I mean, to see something like that on the other side of a timeout, they look discombobulated. They look disjointed.
The thing is, I actually disagree. I think they made a right call there to walk in after that dog cleared everything, seeing so much information, but then they overextended.
Sure.
They overextended in spawn, and they didn't really deal with the situation in front of them, which was that lockdown.
Launching smoke.
We've seen already 3 eco attempts from Cloud9. They're going to have to go for it again. Eventually, this is going to work.
Jogma's already getting pushed off. And Leaf,
wow,
down under there. He's still not detected, but now they know. Now they know, and they're throwing everything at him. Another flawless round for EG. Is that 3 now? 2 or 3?
That's 3. That is also a situation, again, where Cloud9 feel like they get out. In a situation where you're going to catch somebody by surprise. Leaf in that situation, I thought for sure he was going to be able to find some kill on the site as he drops out a drop.
Staring at Jogamo.
Yeah.
What felt like an eternity, yeah.
And Ethan just swings, gets 2, while we're really worried about that sand push, while we're really worried about that drop push, and they handle it so perfectly. That's the first round there that feels disjointed from Cloud9 for me, where you have that lockdown coming in and the rest of the team is pushing in before it.
Looks like we're due for a bit of a clash.
Again,
on the northern side, off of Com's dart.
Yeah, looking for that. And there we go, finally, Cloud9 coming out with an advantage. Zeppelin with the ult over top of the smoke.
Leaf is up here too and just used it. Maybe they convert that into something, but Boostio once again wins the 1v1 against Leaf.
And it is uncharacteristic, but Cloud9 coming out with the advantage. Leaf there popping his Seekers by himself and getting punished by Boostio for it, giving up the position where he's at. I think he intended to fake there. But there was so much scrap going on the other side. Ethan, what an angle.
Only one, and I thought for a moment that Boostio was going to be set up for the second, but Cloud9 finally get on the board.
There we go. Finally, cracking that code.
It's just pure scrap there, though, Doug. I mean, again, Leaf, it looks like he intended to go for a fake. After this happened, where he pops his Seekers, gives up his position, and then Boostio, who's just holding in hulls, destroys him. But a little bit of control gained from Cloud9 now. Still, they have to feel shocked at what has happened so far. We haven't. I mean, this is not completely unfamiliar territory. And instantly starting to ramp up.
Off of the stimmy from Brim, Leaf's able to take that angle aggressively and get 2 big kills. Much like we saw in the previous round, they find themselves with the numbers advantage early.
A little momentum shift feels like it's coming.
They just need to be able to capitalize on these advantages. Well done by Zeppa to keep calm down.
I mean, everybody's peeking here.
Yep. The temptation to get a little scrappy in instances like this. The intrusive thoughts went out, and that nets Cloud9 around.
You could tell Leaf immediately has not been happy with the situation so far. Just swings out halls, gets 2 immediately. And before this, at the last series of the season for Cloud9, they played against Crew and had a very surprising start to that. Crew was a winless team, and they were able to push a top 2 team in the league very, very hard. It was not something you were expecting, but I think it's a similar start. So Cloud9 should be familiar with how to control this situation. But this one is with so much more pressure now.
So much more pressure and an unknown threat on the other side. Keep an eye on Calm. We've already talked about his darts a few times. He has the Hunter Suri this time around. Meanwhile, an op in the hands of Boostio, and there's everyone there! Oh, slightly faster trigger finger, and we might be freaking out about something else.
Calm is popping his ult right now, but they're so far ahead. Ethan also with the breach ult.
A Rolling Thunder, a Jogamo!
Oh, that's the spike!
Spike down, B.
He's gonna be able to zone everything off.
Yeah, but he's alone.
Two, Calm close by. He's gotta be able to hold the line, and he can't. They've left Calm alone.
Oh, boom, got killed!
And this all of a sudden gets very doable for Calm. A 1v2 well within reach. Tries to swing just
there's a gap.
But there's a gap! Zelsis sees it. Jake committing to getting the spike down planted. And Calm looking like he's just cutting his losses.
Honestly, I think he might be going all the way around here to try to attempt this.
It's going to be a scenic route to get there.
He's going all the way around. There's no turret, no alarm bot. The alarm bot's up Gen. So they think he's coming from Canteen right now. But is this really an off angle that's going to catch them by surprise? Maybe he gets one, but that position from Zelsis.
So difficult.
It's stalwart.
He's got a dart. He's got a drone. He doesn't have time.
Can't use either. He's going to get both exits out. Oh my goodness. Oh.
Is he going to? It's going to be close. I think it's going to be really close. It's going to be so close. Just barely missing out.
Shades of Spawn, what an attempt. That is such a cool try for Calm. And I like it. Even if there's a little bit of a doubt that you might not have it, I just respect the fact that he goes for it. It's so smart. Jake knew too. Everybody holding their breath for that one. I mean, my heart's pounding. That normally doesn't happen in one of these. That is crazy.
And that's just enough to call a timeout.
So early too. Yeah, Potter, I was listening in the timeouts yesterday against NRG, and one thing I noticed is Potter always comes into this with a bullet list of things that she wants to get across to her team. What's working, what they're going to change, and preparing her team for that. And as soon as she gets done with that, the rest of the team is able to start adapting to what she's saying. And it gives you such a sense of confidence. I think compared to any of the other coaches, they end up going with the flow of the game, getting focused on some very micro things. And it depends on how the game is going, obviously, but I just think it's such an easy way to stay focused for Evil Geniuses and really readapt to the game plan that you had coming back into this game. For EG, it was all about these smoke dart, these pushes, these re-aggros in the early mid-round. And that might start to change right now.
And it's those re-aggros that I think we saw some hints of historically. We've seen EG like to deny space and take that space defensively. And you see there's a setup for it already. Again, towards Arcade. They have 4 up here. Off of the dart. 3 waiting on the other side. There's a dart. It's not going to find anyone.
That dart is crazy good, by the way. Lands up on top of the satellite. It's so hard to break. They're going into Boostio's util here.
And the thing is, I think
it's not gonna be a factor though.
Yeah, EG are comfortable playing this as a retake. And again, it's because
this just gets broken here.
Yeah, they can send 3 from the northern side, 2 from Spawn. You're right, it was broken instantly.
Paint shells are so good at breaking the lockdown if you can find a position to get them in there.
Rolling Thunder.
So many ults.
And I hit a couple. All doing is buying time. Leaf sidestepping the utility.
He's on top.
He's almost behind him.
Ult.
Now he's got the ult. There are 3 playing in halls, but he still has to get through the molly. He has to get through the stun. He's got to bide his time. He's got to wait until the right moment to strike. And it nets him a 3rd kill in the round. Calm cleaning it up. Rooney, the last one here.
Already on the spike. There's no chance.
Yeah, there's no time for utility, man. Ethan sticks the defuse right under his nose.
I mean, they did such a good job zoning all the Cloud9 players back because of that double satchel that netted Jogamo that showstopper for him to start zoning. They were already falling back to try to play some post and try hold on to halls, but these retakes from EG have been fantastic. That ends the momentum right out of that timeout that Cloud9 was trying to build up, and they're roaring to a fantastic half here.
They did invest a lot of ults, so nothing really in the forecast anytime soon. Meanwhile, for Cloud9, Leaf has his online. Zalsis, Jake, 2 pips away from each. And again, it's aggression. I mean, they're so insistent on trying to apply pressure early in these rounds. Be it Arcade, look, they have 2 people up there already. They just challenged halls. They make their presence known everywhere.
Got your trail.
And you can see the setup. They're thinking they're going to be able to hit a crunch and dish, but no one's there.
Well, the thing is, this has been the situation so often, especially early in the half, where the site is given. But these retakes, we just saw that success. Look at the adaptation here from Cloud9. Jake, deep in that smoke, deep in spawn. They're holding on to sand rather than falling back. This should buy time for Zalsis.
In the face of the ult, they muse over how they want to approach the rest of this round. Zeppa's the first to fall. Lockdown's destroyed. Boostio's got a timing. He's got a window. Is he expecting Rooney there, though? No, he wasn't. And he's still in a position to make more happen, but by the time you get there, you're so heavily outnumbered.
These retakes are unstoppable right now for EG. And Cloud9 trying their best to go for some sort of push into spawn to catch him unaware, to buy time for Zalsis to start playing retake, or the post client start playing his mollies. But it's just so clean. And I have to really commend Ethan. He is over and over finding long distance stuns for his teammates that are getting pressured from unexpected positions. Right there, that stun on spawn was beautiful for Boostio to be able to capitalize on the 2nd kill on Jake. And they've broken the buy for Cloud9 on the final round of the half.
Stingers, Bulldogs, and a Phantom. 1 Soul Phantom in the hands of Jake. Zeppa trying to make his work.
Honestly, so often you're seeing Cloud9 just get into positions way deep, way more than any other team. That's the pace that they normally try to play at. But oftentimes other teams are denying that. They're actually challenging. They have to slow down. They have to start playing with util. But EG's giving it to them. And I think that's making them play way too fast, even though it's a strength for them. Double setup here for Cloud9. Leaf is here.
It feels like the first time we see some of this, like expecting of aggression, some of the adaptations, but I mean, if Boostio's still able to spam him through the smoke, that is tough.
They have ult here. Calms one off his Hunter's Fury too.
Oh, and he hesitated just a moment. I can't believe he got away. A 2nd orbital strike used. Demon 1 zooming his way out of that. Off of the stimmy. Calm forced to wait for just a moment, a temporary delay, and once again, it's going to be a clutch situation for him. Into weapons that are less than desirable. No info gained off the dart. No free kills off of spam. Just gonna have to do this one the honest way. And no real easy way to get in. Those brim smokes take forever, man. You're just like waiting and waiting and waiting for it to dissipate. And finally it comes down and Zalsis gets a 3rd kill on the round.
Switching sides.
But that's a fantastic half for EG here. This is a map that they're pretty good on. Their only loss in the regular season was against Cloud9. But Cloud9 also perfect on this map. They have a lot of perfect maps. But EG right now seems to be getting the better of them on the duels, on the strats, on the antis, everything. And see if this has to continue, because I really think EG looks the best we've seen.
Yeah, I mean, Jogamo's 14-7, and speaking of which, let's take a listen from him, see why he thinks the team is heading into playoffs in its top form.
Peak playoff form. Gonna have D1, you know, farming as always, you know. It's gonna be his first playoff season as well. So just seeing him, maybe it'll excite him for sure. Our mid-rounding's gonna be way better. You know, we're still getting a lot of ideas every day. We're bringing new stuff to the table every day. Me being better on smokes, you know, like the controller role was like a very hard thing to come into, but once I gain confidence in it, I'm just gonna be just as good as any other controller player, I feel, or even better. But yeah, that's probably the peak performance of us for playoffs.
You know, it is funny to listen to him talk about how he wants to be one of the best controllers ever while he's currently sitting at 14-7 on Raze, of all things. So it shows he's pretty formidable at both.
But what a half for EG here.
Oh, yeah.
This is a tack-sided map. They're getting value out of the Sova. They're getting value out of every single player on the server. Demon One's bottom fragging, and they're up 8-4 after a defensive side half on this map. That's just crazy.
The fun thing is, you know, watching both of these teams play this map, Cloud9's defensive side is actually kind of similar as far as playstyle goes and what they want to achieve early in rounds, as what EG was doing. So yeah, it's not going to be off of a cheeky dart lineup that no one's expecting and a spam through the smoke or things like that. But I do think Cloud9 historically like to deny space and move in bunches. They'll move with Zeppa, Leaf, and Rooney, or they'll move with Zeppa, Jake, and Rooney and try to deny some in this space. So we'll see if they're in for some of that this time around as well.
Do want to touch on a lot of the conversation around Cloud9 is questioning how long this sun run can go.
Yeah.
A lot of people throw out the term honeymoon, yada, yada, yada. And I wonder as well if this might have been a targeted weakness by EG, because I feel like this map has been mostly ignored by the rest of the Americas field in terms of getting good on it, changing, being creative.
Sure.
And that might have led to a situation where Cloud9 feels really comfortable because they're beating teams on this map. But that might have actually been due to a peak in performance based off of just starting off together. I think definitely in that first game against EG, it was like that. It's all vibes. This deep in the season, you can't just rely on that, though.
Let's see if the vibes can get them through this deficit that they're facing. I mean, shot darts, nades, Jake. How the heck are you alive?
How is he alive? Especially with the gap in that smoke, too. I mean, that's just ridiculous.
The dead man walking.
Did get return fire, though. On to Calm. He's down to 27. Jogamo at 80 as well. And we do have the rotate call. Rooney's coming over to the side, too. Leaf is joining them as well. They're completely leaving Zalstis on A. Such a difference in pace here on the attack, and they're going to pull out a Cloud9 Classic, just walk on the site here. Busio just got so much.
There. Oh, he was spotted. You see the ping, you see the ping. And the kill goes through. Jake tried peeking at just the right time. Jogamo was ready for it.
Oh, they're just creeping up in the tower, though, and those smokes are going to allow them to get on the site. A lot of control now gained. Early flash out of Leaf before they're even ready to pop out of the smokes. I'm not even sure if he has a second. Rooney with the fault line. That might be the only thing they have to execute out of this.
Demon One getting the first to trade it back, though. He's still trying to hold on to main. Satcheling across his face. Not able to take care of the kill. Calm with 1 HP, and Ethan not much better off.
One enemy remaining.
He's the first to go down. What can Ethan do? Into 1v2. Spike planted. They almost line up for him. He's going to have to get the challenge on each. Reloads. Swings out again. Sees that they're on it. He's got it down to 1. Leaf in half. The swing is there. And Ethan with the clutch.
Talk about disrespect. That time it's Leaf going for disrespect on Ethan. I think they could have chased him down, especially after they got half. Ethan was not even done with the first target there.
Yep.
And also, Ethan disrespecting them. Not giving them any room. He doesn't back off at all. Doesn't even consider a fake tap.
Into a frenzy up close.
It's crazy. What a decision. I think fighting on the stairs definitely is a very advantageous position there. But again, against the frenzy up close, both pistols now for EG. And Cloud9 still haven't gotten one of those patented eco rounds going yet in this.
No, and they just made an attempt at it by having an early advantage in this round off of Zeppa maybe getting a pick, but he just took a ton of damage for it instead.
Don't forget, yesterday, EG won against NRG without a single pistol. Now they have both.
It really shouldn't happen. But alas, that is the world we live in. You're right, with most pistols now and a 5-round lead, it seems like they're just cruising to a 1-0 series lead. They're not done quite yet. Cloud9 trying to make something out of this off of Jake's Ghost.
Playing safe, allowing the 2 players tree to protect any run out on him.
Satchel out.
Whoa. Cleans it up.
Finally gets it.
Got style points too with the satchel.
Last player standing.
All falling down onto Zelsis.
I think Demon might be getting bored here. Oh my goodness.
Life over Brim is tough, man.
He's peeking way fast there ahead of all of his teammates.
Anyone have any splints? I may have jammed my fingers.
And good conversion on the anti-eco. Not as clean as the first run, but they'll take those. Ethan has been a monster.
Really has. And going back to yesterday, I think that it may have been Sean who said it on the desk, but Ethan has just been in such rare form.
Yeah. I think definitely playing the best that we've seen and we've been asking for a long time from him, especially last year while he was on NRG. Here he just looks so good, actually being that veteran presence, and on LAN too. When we saw him back at those internationals early on in VALORANT, back at Masters Berlin, we were saying this guy's definitely a LAN demon. And obviously he has that history coming back. 10-4 for EG. This is another timeout for Cloud9. And this is probably the biggest deficit that we've seen for Cloud9 almost at any point. That crew game, they had a big comeback on Lotus.
But even then, you think about the pressure is just so much more here.
It's completely different.
Feels like the first time we really get to take a look at MCE in a timeout situation and see like concern on his face.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been sucker punched, and they've got to find a way to right the ship. Down 6 with still a little bit of game to play.
Looking at the split right now for EG. Calm is deep behind his team, so he could throw out a dart that clears drop. Similar to how teams used to play KO on this map. Quick drop control. Controlling the orb and able to fall back, but there's a pinch coming in from Cloud9.
There's going to be a fight on the northern side, and the first blood has already been drawn. They swing into it.
They all fight because there's no escape there.
And now that, I mean, that's a spike down. There's no one within reach that can get it to it at this point.
And they for sure know the spike is down too. If I'm EG there, I want to slow it down after I see that initial kill come in from Zeppa, so that it gives time for Boostio, for Demon 1 to actually start to pressure on the back line. But that also, it's a, you know, you lose some things because you could start getting pinched from A in that situation. So they just choose to try to fight out of the only place they can go.
The damned if you do, damned if you don't type being. And it just does not work out for him.
I kind of like these smokes from Demon 1. It gives them room to start scaling a little bit. And I think they've also shifted ideas here.
Last player standing.
Oh, he did get the Guardian, okay. One more, no? Yeah, I think they shifted there to get the orb and then just go for kills. And I think you saw
them down.
The attitude and the way that they were walking and approaching that situation changed. And so that's Cloud9 responding instantly on the anti-bonus. Not something that they did on the first half, but good reaction out of them and finding a gap. I think on Fracture especially, it's a map where you can often instantly gamble at the beginning of the round based off of where you're going, and you can get caught in situations like that. Cloud9 is a team that it will consistently punish when opportunities arise where they can do something like that.
The spike is on the southern side. Demon 1's the only one close by, and he literally has no help right now. The potential of being overwhelmed and overrun by the 3 members of Cloud9 heading his way, but Demon 1 handles them all.
And they've got some huge execute power.
Holy smokes, bro. I mean, yeah, the last one was off the drone from Com, but
they don't even need anything.
He can 1v9. Think about how potentially dangerous of a situation that was. And it's just handled. I tweeted about it jokingly yesterday. I was like, yeah, Demon 1 might be the best player in the game. Ha ha ha. I'm starting to believe it.
I know Busio definitely believes it in terms of the aim.
Yeah.
Calling him a top 3 player, putting him up there on the pegs with Durka.
It's a mighty high pedestal at that too, yeah.
Which is just crazy for somebody that most people did not even know existed before this season started.
Right between the eyes. I mean, to think that he was dealing with offers from like tier 2 teams. He ends up as like the 9th, maybe 10th man on a franchise roster, and now he's doing this. He's taken VCT Americas by storm.
The open tryouts find.
Yeah.
Just crazy. And that could have been, I mean, just that still, even if he just gets 1 pick there, even if he gets nothing and is able to fall off, that was still a very dangerous round for EG to, or sorry, for Cloud9 to deal with from EG because of the amount of ults. They had the breach ult, they had the orbital strike up too. So no matter what, Evil Geniuses are going to give him a run for their money, but because he gets all 3 picks, he saves them and delays it for 1 more. So now they have tools even further in this, and you're looking at a reset round for Cloud9's economy. And that would be devastating because that would end up on match point if it does go that direction.
Right.
Off your feet!
Look at that dart from Dish and towards Sand. And Ethan patiently waiting for his moment to strike. You've got Leaf understanding this pressure coming. That overstrike is going to be a problem. Zoning them both off. Now the lockdown invested. They have full halls control. It's going to be a tough retake for Cloud9.
Bomb grenade out.
And if the first half was anything to go off of, I was going to say he can't get anything there.
No, he had nowhere he could go. A 3v3 now. Demon 1 has ult. And a post-plant situation, you imagine it's Raps.
There.
He has a Molly too.
They were so good on retakes. Are they the same in the post-plants?
Demon 1 with the first. Chogamo trying to deal another. Not able to. A 2v2 is all that's left. Jake with 33 HP. There's Orbital Strike just to buy time.
He still has a Molly too. I don't think he can get it in this position though.
It's a tricky spot. But he's going to try. There's the Molly. In the face of the fault line, Demon 1 cleans up the round. EG map point.
And this is what I was talking about. Get a glimpse of the economy right here. It is not good from Cloud9. They have to purchase Stingers.
Oh, it's dreadful.
The only player who has money to full buy here is Zelsis. Jake has a Vandal right now, no armor, no smoke. So, I mean, you got to reevaluate that one.
Will he?
I mean, they don't have timeouts to call to figure this out either.
Yeah.
And he's not reconsidering. He's going glass cannon. 1 smoke. They have to find value immediately.
And there was that smoke. He's already used it. Jogamo satching forward.
That's 2.
Jake is so dead. That was one of the only guns that they had too. Zelsis has one now. Are they even in a position to pick the other one up? No. Trade it back. A raise for a raise. 4v2 EG with numbers advantage. Map advantage. And just looking to put the finishing touches on an absolute stomp.
One enemy remaining.
And it was an attempt to lead from the front, but holy smokes, what a whooping. EG just gave Cloud9 13-5 to take map 1.
And they're the underdogs. That is crazy to start out the series like that. It was their map pick, but they just handed Cloud9 their worst map loss of the Americas League. Before this, it was Crew. 6 rounds they got on that one. EG just beat that by a little bit, but this is in a very high pressure situation. This is a situation where we're double qualifying one of these teams at the end of this series.
And they made it look easy, bro. They made it look so easy. They had their game plan. They knew what they wanted to do. Com played off of his darts. They so effectively took space on defense. They never gave Cloud9 a second to breathe.
Retakes were phenomenal. Situations, you didn't see many of those, by the way. It was a scrappy game at some points, But most of the time, EG was keeping it very, very under control. That was phenomenal.
Ethan had his big moments. Jogamo top frag. Demon 1 made a run at it because he was pissed off that he wasn't top fragging as he's used to. That's just a complete game from Evil Geniuses from top to bottom. 13-5, 1-0 series lead, a break, and then map 2 on the other side of this.
Cause I'm having a good time, having a good time. I'm a racing car, passing by like Lady Godiva. I'm gonna go, 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 there's no stopping me. Don't stop me now, I'm having such a good time. I'm having a
Red Bull gives you wings.